Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to take a look at the masking steps followed in a scale model. I'm going to go over the hard masking and the soft masking, both of these techniques, and also check out a product from AK Interactive, the Camouflage Putty. And I will share a few do's and don'ts from my experience and hope you like this video. So the first thing that we are going to take a look at is the hard masking technique. It's mainly used to highlight a particular panel or a very crisp edge between two different colors. For example, in this video, I will be highlighting a particular panel. Let's say to give the impression that this panel has been changed. For this, I will be using a painter's tape, or you can use a masking tape. There are quite a few masking tapes available online. Since I do not have them at the moment, I will be going on with a normal painter's tape and cut it into different shapes. So the thinner this tape is, the easier it is to manipulate into difficult areas or more complex geometry areas. So I have cut out a thin piece of this tape and I will be trying to highlight this panel. So I will be basically covering this panel and remaining of the turret I will be painting in a different color. So for this case, the green color of this particular panel remains intact. I have cut out small strips of the painting tape or masking tape, and I will be covering this entire area following the edges of the panel. And in some cases, I use my hobby knife to cut it into that specific dimension. If you are using a hobby knife, like I'm doing so, it's very necessary to be careful so as to avoid scratches on the existing paintwork. So this is a pretty simple example. The more thinner the strips are, the easier to do this task. So the next thing I'm going to do is the soft masking. For this, I have the AK Interactive plastic putty. I recently got it and this is my first time using this putty. Soft masking is usually done when you have a feathered edge between the two colors, like the painting on a tank. It's more clear to consult online examples or pictures before deciding which exact masking to do. So as you can see, this putty comes in a plastic bag inside a tin box and it's quite gooey. So when you stretch it, you have strings of the putty everywhere. So to cut it, the best method I found was to snap it suddenly or to cut it with a scissor. With a slight warmth of hand, it can be rolled into a thin string like you see in the video. And then we use this to mask the particular areas that we see fit. It is necessary to press it onto the model because a particular feature of this putty is that it doesn't leave any residue. So it has to be pressed onto the model a bit for it to stick properly. For these steps, I think it's the best to consult some online pictures and see what type of painting has been done on this tank. They are a good reference. For this particular tank, I saw most of them are randomly hand painted probably. So all of them have different configurations. So they are not machine painted, so that every tank is unique. So I tried to follow some examples from the pictures I see online. And as you can see, I have placed the turret on top of the hull. So this gives me an idea of how to follow the same camouflage pattern on the hull also, compared with that of the turret. The other thing that needs to be considered while handling this putty is that it's really sticky. So if you have two different segments of putty very close to each other, like I have in this video, one on the turret and one on the hull, they tend to stick to each other and they might disturb the camouflage pattern that you're creating a bit. So it needs to be carefully controlled. Let's say we have to be careful when placing these two different segments of putty next to each other. So as you can see, I try to follow the same lines or the same margins that I did on the turret for the pattern, also onto the hull. So as you can see, I have more or less finished laying out the margins of my camouflage. And then I start masking the internal parts, the inner areas where the paint is going to remain the same. So I will shut down, I will close off the areas which are supposed to remain green. For this, I again use the masking tape or painting tape. And this is more useful because you can simply tear it and stick it onto the places which you do not need the second layer of color on. So as you can see, the covered areas will remain green. The exposed areas, they are to be painted in yellow. And yeah, it's better to be clear by putting the turret on top of it. So we get an idea of what exactly it will look like. We can imagine it ourselves after we do this masking to understand what it will look like after putting on the second layer of paint. For more delicate or fragile areas, I decided to mask it with the putty. I think this is better than using a masking tape because the putty is easily removable and can be easily manipulated into small corners or around delicate parts. So as you can see, I have almost finished masking the entire model. I think it's better to use a masking putty like the one I have been using currently than to find other DIY alternatives because this putty is apparently can be used again and again. It is reusable and probably should last at least a couple of years from the reviews that I have seen online. So yes, I will leave this model as it is for now and give it a overnight rest and see how the putty reacts in normal conditions. So here we are back again after 12-13 hours. I left it overnight. I also put some additional putty on top to cover it well. But as you can clearly see, it did flow a bit. So there has been the action of gravity on this putty. So it has been dripping downwards and also it has flowed horizontally. So the putty is not exactly the way that I have left it 12 hours ago, but I can say that it has not lost its effectiveness. So it's probably a millimeter here and there, but since I was not specific about it, it's fine for me to use it in this model. But if you are looking for very specific camouflages and you are very specific about the details, then I would suggest you airbrush it within a few hours so that the putty does not flow or loses the exact camouflage pattern that you had created. But in any case, for me, this is fine. I think it gives a different aspect to the camouflage that I had created. And let's see how the painting process goes after this. So hope you like this video, and I will be making the videos on the further steps after this, like the painting of the camouflage, the chipping, and also a full build video of this Challenger 2 tank. So please leave a like or a comment, and please subscribe if you found this interesting. Thank you so much for watching.